Welcome back, everyone, to the Gameday Tarps podcast. Today, we're just doing a quick trade recap because there have been some massive trades that have gone down here, at the end of January. But we have some even bigger news for ourselves here. Colton Davies of Daily Faceoff is now a full-time member of the podcast. So welcome aboard, brother.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited, man. We got some big trades. Obviously, Frank broke that Rantanen trade, the Rantanen Natchez deal. Obviously, that trade is more of a, as people have said, it's a where were you moment. That'll be one of the big blockbusters that we've had in the last decade.
For sure.
But obviously, Carolina got Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall, while the Avs got Martin Natchez, Jack Drury, some draft picks, and then Chicago got absolutely fucked and got a third-round pick, and then while retaining obviously Rantanen's salary. But what do you guys make of that trade? Because it was as shocking for me even being in the industry because there was no whispers about something like that happening at all, and then for that just to happen and for Colorado to move on from Rantanen of all players, I think that was what was the most shocking. But what do you guys say?
Well, I remember you saying a couple weeks ago back in the Discord chat, or not even a couple weeks ago, maybe last week even, when you mentioned that there might have been talks between the Canucks, or this might have been a perfect opportunity for the Canucks to get rid of JT Miller with a Bradley Nadeau, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and another roster player, assuming that roster player would have been Natchez. And I'm shocked that the Canucks didn't jump on that, but I think it's a great move in Carolina's aspect. Maybe not so much for Colorado losing Rantanen, but I think Brind'Amour and his squad are ready to roll deep in the playoffs.
I think it was definitely surprising considering they were talking about contract extension and he was willing to take less than what he was projected to be asking for. Now, that being said, obviously you got Makar coming up in the next few years, so you probably got a big debacle there. But I don't know. I think Carolina only comes up on top of this if Rantanen decides to re-sign there and not hit free agency. Otherwise, that was kind of a busted trade to me anyways, as where Natchez kind of comes with term. I think Natchez is probably around the prime of his career, and I think in the Colorado system, he's probably going to do great.
His speed matched with Makar and McKinnon. I mean, it's gonna. Once they figure out that chemistry, he scored tonight, so he's at 5 points now in 3 games or 4 games. But as soon as they start to connect more, it's gonna be interesting because it's not Rantanen, right? It's not gonna be Rantanen. You're never gonna have that chemistry for McKinnon again, I think. But Natchez definitely could be a solid fit for him for the time being and what they need.
Yeah, I personally, no matter which way this goes, obviously, like you said, Dakota, I just think that Colorado wins this trade. They get the younger player. They got the cheaper cap hit. The only thing that I think hurts is that they didn't wait till today when they just heard that the cap is going up like $18 million over the next 2 years. I think that would have convinced – well, they had to have known. These meetings have been going on. So they had to have known that, right? He obviously had to go to the owner, right? McFarland had to go to the owner and say, hey, we're going to trade like our second best player. And they would have been like, okay. So he would have known that the cap was about to go up and they were about to announce all this. So I don't know.
I think it's interesting that McKinnon wasn't consulted on the trade, though. That's almost shocking to me that he wasn't.
Yeah, and did you guys see the interview? He was absolutely just stunned. Just out of nowhere, guys. Just his best friends, oh yeah, by the way, heading to Carolina, see you later. It was fucked up.
That 300-point seasons, in a row or whatever he's done, and just so phenomenal in the playoffs. I don't know. I think like I said, I was shocked to see that deal go down, but yeah, if Carolina can re-sign him, then we'll see. But I mean, let me propose this one to you guys. This is something I've heard already around the league. What if Carolina flips Rantanen before the deadline?
That'd be crazy.
Ooh.
Because
weirder things have happened.
what if they realize that they won't be able to sign him, so they just flip him and get a bigger
Yeah.
package out of it, right?
True.
I think teams like we know Chicago really is eyeing up Rantanen. They want him for the future. But what about a team like San Jose who could really use somebody like him to guide that young core, right?
Or
But-
even
Yeah, no, it's Rantanen and Celebrini, buddy. Come on.
oh, Celebrini's
Boys.
got Smith.
I
though.
don't know though. Yeah, true.
I don't know.
True.
At the end of the
Okay.
day, it's just going to be who's going to be willing to pay him the big bucks, right?
Yeah, who's going to pay him $15 million a season? So
Exactly. And Calgary's
Well,
known to be overpaying guys. I mean, 10.5
Okay,
for Huberdeau.
on yeah, well, yeah. On the topic of Calgary, your Flames made a big trade, obviously. Kuzmenko and Peltier go out. You guys get Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost. What's your initial reaction to that one, Dakota?
I think it's a great trade for Calgary, but I do think that with that being said, it's a big emotional tear kind of thing. Like I think people in Calgary are very happy with the trade itself, but you lose personality with it. Now I'm fine with losing the Kuzmenko project. Like that's, I think if he's been on, this is his third team now, and he hasn't been able to figure it out and surpass his 70-point season or even come close to a 70-point season again, then, you know, it's time for him to go elsewhere. Peltier probably stings a little bit more just because, you know, he was kind of like family throughout that whole locker room. He's buddies with Coronado. I mean, you got him and Huberdeau playing father and son. Like, I don't know, but overall, the trade itself, I think, was a good move on their part.
Like, were you as shocked that it was Farabee and Frost though? Because like, I think that's what kind of took me back was it was both of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, my initial thought was just strictly thinking Frost was going to be the player, right? Whether it was a 1-for-1 or 2-for-1, I for sure thought Frost was going to be the one centerpiece coming in. But the fact that they can go out and get his best friend Farabee with that too is phenomenal. But I was thinking also that night, I was kind of just scrolling through the roster and like, I don't know, like would maybe like Forrester or Bobby Brink be a better acquisition than Farabee?
Not Brink. Maybe Forrester.
Yeah, maybe Forrester, but I don't know. I think with Farabee, he's just like it's like his Anthony DeMarco, who works for us at Daily Faceoff and covers the Flyers, had made basically like just said his ceiling with the Flyers hit its peak. There was nothing more the Flyers could really get out of Farabee to get him to just produce more and just play that way. And so with the change of scenery, they're hoping that it'll kind of rejuvenate him and let him kind of figure it out. But he's still projected to be a third line player. So I don't know.
But here's my thing. Sorry, Dad. I'll just say this quick. Like, you look at Philadelphia, players that are offensively gifted just aren't working in Tortorella's system. Farabee had a great start, right? And then he starts getting hampered down on his defensive play, and it locks it. Some guys just can't do it. They can't focus on both things the whole season. They have to either do offensive stuff or they have to be defensive. And if you tell a guy who's offensive to be defensive, that's all he's thinking about is to try and like, hey, ice time is dependent on defensive play. Perfect. Well, now I'm not putting the puck in the net. All of a sudden now they're telling me I'm not doing what I need to do, but I'm playing way better defensively, but now I'm not scoring, so I'm not a good player type thing. Like I get where the mental carousel comes in.
And them getting before Dallas, just 1 second, them getting Kuzmenko in Philly is just to like get Michkov going. Like that's the only reason why they did that is because they were line mates together in the K. So it's try to get that Russian influence in because Igor Zamula is up and down, so there's not a lot of connection there. And then Fedotov is, I don't even know what he's doing. I don't think he's up with the squad right now. So there's just no Russians for Michkov. And so that's the big thing with Kuzmenko going in there. But like, it almost seems like to me, and not that to poke at like the Flyers, but it almost seems like they're ruining Michkov. Like, I don't know. It's just the way I
Torts
see
was
it.
exploding on him on the bench last night.
Yeah.
Well, and just think now he's got Kuzmenko now. Dude's going to be grayer than he already is.
Should have just sent JT Miller there. That locker room would implode.
At least
him and Torts would be at each other's throats.
Torts on Miller would go. I don't even want to know where it would go.
I don't know. Obviously, this guy, he has a better understanding of, his own organization, being a Flames fan and whatnot. But I was just going to say, what really was the enticer here? Was it really Kuzmenko heading over to the Philadelphia Flyers for that, great package? Obviously, if I were to grade this trade, I'd say, obviously Calgary is the winners here. When you got a once OHL MVP and Morgan Frost out of the Sioux Greyhounds, that's a huge thing. I almost would have thought maybe a guy like Bobby Brink would have been brought over too. But either way you look at it, guys, it's obviously a great trade. That I think that Calgary was one that came up on top for sure.
I also want to note that Morgan Frost is reuniting with Sioux Greyhound teammate Rory Cairns, so that might spark a connection in the future for the Flames. I feel that's not being brought up enough. Cairns is nasty, had a good debut with the Flames, so I think it was huge to bring Morgan Frost in the system now too, and we'll see if they spark.
And just a little bit of a respect move on Curran's part, giving up his number 86 for Farabee to get it. So that was kind of a cool move for him.
Veteran move. Wait, he's not a veteran. Just moving over
not.
for the veterans.
Yeah.
He'll be like
veteran.
He'll be like, who gave up 96? Roslovich in Carolina. He'll be like Roslovich and be like, "Where's my watch? Give me my watch." But I think, I think it's like a. I give the trade a B. I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's good for both sides. It changes scenery for everybody. There's like Frank pointed out, there's 3 first-round picks involved. It's kind of neat how that ties in. And Frost is a defensive god in the NHL, so let's see how he does.
Well, I got to throw in something too here, gents. I really didn't get to have much of a say on the rant and shit, but
go back.
I mean, I was so fucking stunned about it. That's a whole nother story. But one thing I don't hear a lot of people talking about, with the exception of the cap going up, in a perfect world, could we actually see maybe Rantanen going back to the Avs on that so-called discount that he was describing? Now they got Natchez, right, who has the term, as Dakota just alluded to earlier. Maybe they could build that team again, like a super team next year, with having Rantanen coming back on a discount. Obviously, it's probably very unlikely, but I honestly would never say never. I know Chris McFarland last year was going all in, getting Trennan, Duhaime, Sean Walker out of Philly, all these big moves, and obviously that just imploded on us, in the offseason. But I think, personally, I know a lot of Colorado fans were truly unhappy. Obviously, it just stunned everybody in the hockey world. But I think maybe there is a chance he could come back to the Avs faithful. So, my fingers are crossed here, boys. So maybe this offseason he'll come running back.
Here's my thing on it, though. If they did it right, yes. But they did it wrong, right? They didn't talk to anyone. They didn't let him know. Reportedly, he was shocked. Unless McFarland is out as GM, then I don't see it. Because now Rantanen's no, you didn't even make that an option in the contract talks that you were going to have to move me on if we didn't come to a conclusion. And also on McFarland, I think he got a pretty decent package, but you have a guy like Mikko Rantanen, and now if you're disregarding his emotions all the way, you make it known he's on the market because your return is going to be a lot higher than what he got, because he got 2 good NHLers, but low draft picks. He probably could have got the same type of player package plus a first, at least, from someone else. That's just my
Well,
thought.
well, fuck. For one, it leaves such a sour taste between the relationship between a general manager and a player. Like he doesn't want to get fucked over again if he tries to cross that bridge back to Denver, right? Like I don't think. Again, I think that actually puts a bigger spotlight on things. Like maybe he doesn't want to deal with McFarland again, but you play NHL franchise mode, guys. Like Mikko Rantanen's value is like so blown out of proportion. It's like you got to give up an arm and a leg and the whole goddamn city budget just to trade a guy. But yeah, like when you get like Jack Drury and Martin Necas for really the bulk of Mikko Rantanen, it's like, wow. I kind of like what you said then, Ryan. Like, what could of other teams have offered Chris McFarland if Carolina wasn't just the only team really on the table calling about him? So yeah, I don't know. Head scratchers, boys.
And they weren't they weren't the only team, right? Like it came out today that Calgary apparently made a call on that, but it's like some of those trades are just like, I don't know. It's hard to predict those ones though, because it's like would Calgary have to give up? Because if they give up Kuzmenko, like they'd have to give up like Zane Perrick or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it'd be such a weird trade, but it would have probably been bigger in that sense. But Colorado's main ask was a roster player back, and they got that with Necas. But going back to your thing about Rantanen and re-signing, though, I think the only way that happens is if Landeskog retires, they buy him out, and then they can get Makar cheap too, because that's the only problem is they'll have to pay Makar.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pay Makar and Rantanen, like I think the big thing for Colorado is they don't want to end up like Toronto, where you have 4 guys that make $12+ million and you're not doing anything with your team, right? So
yeah,
or just similar situation to Edmonton.
Yeah, literally.
Where you have 3 or 4 guys literally making most of your salary cap, and you don't even have enough for your depth.
Yeah, 100%.
I think the big thing too, guys, is like they didn't really want to sign 2 players that are getting paid more than Nathan McKinnon. So I think that was just a big X on the screen for them. But honestly, going back to Dakota here, like if Calgary was a team calling about Mikko Rantanen, holy Christ, I would have fucking rather them be a suitor for Rantanen for sure. Deep their prospect pool is. I would have gladly snagged a few prospects and maybe a decent roster player.
Well, hold on, me. I feel like Calgary, like if they wanted a roster player, right? Maybe we give up Rasmus Anderson, maybe, and then maybe give up one of our 3 firsts that we have, or 2.
Colorado needs defense, so
yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. So if you give up Rasmus Anderson, maybe a prospect like Poirier, or I wouldn't say Perrick because I feel like Calgary's like hell bent on Perrick right now.
Well,
Brustevich.
See, but that's another player. That's another player
yeah, but Peltier probably would have been part of that, honestly.
Yeah,
fair.
Yeah. There's 2 other alternative scenarios that I thought about. Number 1, was Landeskog ever really an option to move? Like that cap hit is huge. He's so injured. I know that he wouldn't have had any value, but
yeah, I think they've thought about moving the cap hit if he decides he's not playing, like how Shea Weber had done that and stuff like that, where they know for sure the guy's not returning. Then they'll move the cap hit on Chicago or Utah, or somebody will just buy it and eat it up, which is probably what's going to happen. But Landeskog was skating recently, as far as I know. So
yeah, but would you rather have a just skating Landeskog or Mikko Rantanen? Like, I'm trading Landeskog all day. But my second thought is he knew what was going on in Vancouver. Did he not call 1-for-1s Pettersson and Miller? Like Rantanen for Miller, Rantanen for Pettersson? Did he not make that call ever? Obviously, I don't think he wanted Pettersson because of the $11 million cap hit, but what about Miller? Like 1-for-1. You think you need to move Rantanen out. Miller can come in at a lower cap hit than McKinnon. Like,
I think that's an idea. Like that would have been a trade to explore. But you think about like one thing. Okay, let's hold up. While we're on the topic of Vancouver, and speaking of Miller, obviously he gets traded to New York for Philip Hedl and whoever the fuck everybody else is. But what a dumb trade for Vancouver, because like it's exactly like how you're talking about it, Ryley. Like, what if they had more options on the table where they could have moved Miller to Carolina for the package that I put together, or
Yeah.
they could have moved Miller to Vancouver. Or I mean, he's already in Vancouver, to Colorado. Like, there's so many other trades that could have happened to Dallas. Right? Dallas was in on him. Columbus was in on him. And I'm sure
We're
Columbus
hearing
is
Brant Clark
better.
is available, right? Like
Brant
LA.
Clark's available. Like,
Yeah.
LA needs fucking help. Anze Kopitar's on the verge of retirement. The dude's hanging on from his fucking ligaments. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't get it. But Philip Heedle's good. Don't get me wrong. I like Philip Heedle. But it's like, how do you go from the trade last year that was predicted or projected, where it was, what was it, Heedle, Kako, and a pick, or Heedle, Schneider, and a pick, and they declined it? Like, and then this is what you get? I don't know. I think
Pennies.
Downgrade.
it's just bad. Yeah, it's bad. Underwhelming.
I don't know about you,
Well,
Russ, but I've
that
never heard of that Mancini guy.
Yeah.
no,
You
I've
know
never
him?
heard of Mancini.
No, I've never
No.
heard of that Mancini.
No.
Definitely to make
Yeah.
whatever, like the roster count. They're probably both full rosters, so it had to be exact amount of players for exact amount of players, is my guess. So I'm guessing New York wanted Brandstrom and Miller, and then they added that guy for the extra, and then the first. That's my guess.
So- And the first is top 13 protected. Like,
yeah.
I've never heard of a pick top 13 protected.
No.
So,
How did they let them go above top 10? That's crazy.
because, and that's my thing too. Like, what if New York absolutely just derails here because you bring JT Miller into the locker room? He's already been there once, was traded out of the locker room because he was cancer. Let's bring him back again.
Well, let's see here.
Like-
They're terrible in the standings too. Like they're fifth in the Metro, 3
But-
points behind the Blue. Like they're 3 points behind the Blue Jackets. We're talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets here, tied with
But I'm
Philadelphia.
assuming New York. Yeah, see, I'm assuming New York made it top 13 protected though because Vancouver said no to retaining any salary on Miller.
If you go overall, they are. Where are they? They are exactly 11 spots in the. So they're 11th pick in the draft right now. So they gave themselves a little bit of cushion,
Right.
but it should have been top 10 because them getting Miller, I would have said no. Your goal is to make the playoffs now, so you go top 10 protected or not at all.
I think that's fair. I don't know. The protections are weird though. I think like as long it should have been lottery protected. I guess that's like what it should have been, but whatever.
Yeah.
What do some of you guys though? Other guys, what do you guys think about that Miller for Heedle trade, or any of the trades for that matter?
I would have thought he fetched a lot more, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Like that was like you
protected?
could even technically say that the Rangers won this deal based off of what Vancouver got
Yeah,
out of it.
for sure.
You know? That's what I mean. Like they didn't really. They could have at least got more for that guy. Like,
Well,
so
here's my thing.
Doesn't Vancouver need defense? And then you get a guy like Heedle who's concussed daily.
All the time. It's bad issues to have. Like,
yeah, it is.
The amount of times I've seen Philip Heedle has left practice, and it's just like, oh boy, here we go again.
Here's my thing, boys, about Rutherford. Like, he's hit and miss. Like, he'll do a really good splash and then a really questionable trade. Like, look at last year, Elias Lindholm, just sent an absolute haul to your boys, Dakota, right? You got a couple good prospects at first, yada, 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 yada. And you fast forward to this year, it's like, holy fuck, did you ever get fleeced? Like, I don't know how, like, in the right mind that Vancouver fans could be ever happy about this with what JT Miller could have fetched on the open market before the trade deadline. Like, it's just stupid. It's mind-boggling.
Well, I think Rutherford has completely made the situation worse than it already was. Like, you can bring up the whatever's going on between the two players, but for him to come out and name drop like Besser and Quinn Hughes as well, like Quinn Hughes in 2027 is just going to go see you later, and you get nothing for him.
Yep.
That's actually what I saw, that the cap is going up to 113 million. Conveniently, the year that Quinn Hughes is a free agent in New Jersey actually has a lot of contracts coming off the books that year.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to the point where you can try to offer Quinn Hughes $14-15 million to stay, and he's going to say, nope, this team's a joke.
And then the Leafs fans get mad in 2027 because Sheldon Keefe gets a cup with the Devils, and then everybody else is happy.
And then, yeah, true.
Nah, Devils can't win.
Imagine.
It's not happening.
You were going to say something earlier, though, Dave. What was your thought that you had there? I saw you were going for it.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, throwing it back to the Colorado trade, if they did have something in talks with Calgary, like Dak was saying, and they did send Anderson there, Colorado's right side on the back end would be Makar, and then either Rasmus Anderson, RD1 or 2 or 3, and then Josh Manson. So do you guys think that's, like, if not top 5, top 3 in the NHL on your right side on the back end?
That would be elite.
Well,
that would be right there with Vegas, kind of. Yeah.
The odd man
Yeah,
out would be
kinda
Sam
lost
Malinsky
like
on that third line pairing. So
Oh,
I mean,
he's sick. He's sick.
I'd be happy with that, right? Like, just unslot Malinsky, throw Manson on that third line pairing, right? Like, I like what you said earlier, Colton. Like, yeah, Colorado's blue line is so depleted. Like, throwing it back last year, subtractions: Sean Walker, Bowen Byram, like, and then you come to this year and it's like, oh, we settled for Oliver Shillington, Eric Brandstrom. I like what you said. Very depleted blue line, Rasmus Anderson, or hell, I wanted to say this trade proposal for you, Colton. Would you say no to a Martin Hs and not just a Jack Drury forward? We're talking like maybe a Jalen Chatfield defenseman out of Carolina and a couple picks for Rantanen. Like, that's where they're hurting his defense. Get a good, solid rostered player in Jalen Chatfield on that blue line for the boys.
Carolina's hurting on D2, though. They lost Shea and Pesci this year. I bet their D were unavailable in that trade.
They, I always thought that was interesting that Tulski let Pesci and Shea walk, because I thought those guys were so fucking important to that blue line and to that, like, why that team was so disgusting defensively. But it's almost weird because it's like they haven't skipped a beat without them. So I guess in hindsight, Tulski knew what he was doing, not giving them those big paydays just because of their recent stats, I guess. Like that, and Pesci's he's doing great in New Jersey. Shea's I think he's doing okay in Nashville. I'm not 100% sure, but on the defense talk, it's like a hypothetical, because we know Besser is going to get moved. Like, that's something that is going to happen here, whether it's at the deadline or not. Like, it seems like it's going to happen. You're not going to get a lot out of probably for him because he's an RFA, but would you do, if you're Vancouver, would you do Besser for Byram straight up?
No.
30
goal scorer versus maybe a third pair D-man. Especially if he gets it, like, all of a sudden you're taking on the 2 top concussion problem guys in the NHL. Like, that actually is bad. Like, that could be super bad for them. All of a sudden they both get concussions and it's over, right? Like,
yeah, but Byram's not known for his offense more. He's a defensive defenseman, right? So that's what Vancouver needs.
That's the problem, is when he was drafted 4th overall, he was known for
he was.
Yeah. And then he got knocked out old UFC style, and that was it.
Now, Colton, could you see a trade between Minnesota and Vancouver, send Besser home? Mm-hmm. Now, would you accept a trade either for Marco Rossi to be in that return or Juracek?
Mm-hmm. Both. I'd do it in a heartbeat if I was Vancouver. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'd do it in a heartbeat if Vancouver went, which was rumored last year, Besser for Joel Eriksson X straight up. Fuck, I'd do that straight away.
Damn.
Because
no, I wouldn't.
Eriksson
X.
I would, because, well, he's so good. He's very good defensively, though, and I think somebody like him could help open up PD a little bit and maybe allow PD to just focus on his offense and get that out of the way. But I don't know, because I thought that was an interesting one, but it seems like it's from what I'm hearing, like, it seems like it's Minnesota and Detroit that are really pushing for Besser. And I don't know what Detroit really has to offer, like, in terms of, I don't really know what Detroit has to offer, but
maybe Michael Rasmussen or Veleno.
Yeah. Rasmussen would make sense because he's a Langley boy, and I think Rick Dollywall actually reported that as well, that they had interest in Rasmussen. But I don't know. I don't even know if I'd do that because
Or maybe even a Tom Willander. I don't see them getting rid of like Edvidson or
they won't get rid of
Sandin
Edmondson, but
Palika.
they might get rid of Willander. Like, no, they won't get rid of Sandin Palika. I know people in the industry that think Sandin Palika is not even going to peak in the NHL. Like, he's going to bust,
That's crazy.
which is crazy. Yeah,
Wow.
right? Like,
What
there's a
about
talk.
Marco
There's a talk.
Casper?
He's
Well,
gonna be
yeah, but there's like for me though, like Pelika's dominated the World Juniors and is dominating in the SHL even. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to skip a beat when he gets to the NHL, but we'll see. But I don't know.
now.
No,
Here's a
even in
thought.
2023, like in that tournament in Halifax, when I saw him, like he dominated then, like, and then continued it the next 2 years. Like I don't know if people think he's not gonna create offense or create any success in the NHL. I think it's kind of crazy, but
I agree.
I don't know.
No, I agree. PD. So if PD gets dealt, right, and it's probably not going to happen now, but there's talks about him going to Chicago and stuff like that. Like, you think Vancouver would take Seth Jones back? Like, they'd have to. Like, some of those deals that I
Seth
saw.
Jones back. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say Seth Jones back. They never had Seth Jones, but never mind.
No, but like, yeah. But like, I don't think they even want him. Don't worry. I don't think I would take that at all. But my proposed trade, even for PD going to Columbus, which apparently seems to be gaining traction. People keep linking him to going to Columbus. I don't know why he would go to Ohio, but KJ, Damon Severson, and a first. I don't know if that's enough, but like, I think that's like a talk to, like, you could start talks there, right? Like, Columbus would probably have to add. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, another thing I was thinking of too. So, is there any truth to Demko and it potentially not wanting to be in Vancouver anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the Canucks players are just getting sick of the media bullshit. The media is like it's just harping on them.
Canadian media is the worst, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's the fucking
So much pressure.
disaster.
Drives athletes away.
And they just like make up shit too. Like, we try not to do that. Like, we really try not to, like, just fucking post stuff that doesn't really have credible information. But like, other reporters and stuff, like that one reporter that went up and asked Miller the other day about his comments, and Miller was like, "Do you want me to go and get PD right now and bring him out here?" And the reporter's like, "No." It's like, okay, so then you're just starting shit. Like, why wouldn't you want PD to come out here and tell them that it's like, oh, there's nothing going on, we're fine? And that's just I think that's the issue in Vancouver right now. It's just the media is really fucking things up for that team.
These guys know, I've said this for a while, Colton, is that the NHL needs to go to NBA media style, where there's a personnel on the team that is selecting media, and they can cut the question off anytime they want. Just letting the media guys have feeding frenzies right in front of their faces, just like, hey, what do you think about this? It's just like, what the heck? Leave it alone.
Crazy.
Or just have questions that are outside hockey or what they're doing on the ice. Just, it could be completely personal.
Yes.
It's like, why? Why does my personal life affect you?
Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Like,
Yeah,
I don't get it. It's so stupid to me. And like, that's the problem though. Like, and there you go. That's why. And you could, like, I'm sure Canucks fans, if they listen to this, will come for my head. But like, you could partially blame the Canucks fans for the Miller return, and the Canucks media for the return on Miller. Like, 100%.
oh, blown out of proportion, made him like a villain out there.
Yes.
Well, and Rutherford.
Exactly.
Rutherford did not handle this well. The organization did not handle it well. But the media didn't help. Miller didn't help. Pettersson didn't help. Just all the way around. No one really helped the situation. Everyone just wanted it to end so bad that they screwed it up.
Exactly.
Well, on the topic,
I bet if it ended, I bet that team would be performing so much better without all that noise in their head.
Yep.
100%. On the
Agreed.
topic though, boys, of Canadian media, Vancouver isn't as bad as what it's made out to be in Toronto, right? There's a lot of pressure in that market that a lot of players decide not to re-sign in or even want to go there in general. Big reason probably why Ryan O'Reilly never re-signed there. But
Yeah.
is there any real truth to the Mitch Marner talks out there? I heard teams linked LA,
Yeah. So okay. So if you're, I had this conversation with an NHL scout the other night at the Blazers game. Okay, so if you're LA and Toronto comes to you and goes, "Hey, we want to give you Mitch Marner and probably a C-rated prospect for Brant Clark, your first round pick this year, and Carter George." What do you do if you're LA? Because the NHL scout told me he takes that as Toronto and fucking laughs in their faces. Because Brant Clark will be the next Cale Makar.
If I'm LA,
And
I
if you're
say
LA,
no.
Yeah.
yes, that's kind of what I was thinking, right? If you're LA, you go, sure, we have the chance to get an elite superstar player with Marner, but why give up on the next Drew Doughty or whatever that could be for your Kings, right?
Me and
Yeah.
Dakota were talking about that today. Why is Brent Clark even questioned? What's LA thinking? You know what I mean? And we were like, so what if?
I don't know.
Okay, Doughty's back, and why? Either they put them on the same line, or I don't know.
The thing with Doughty is
'cause
stupid.
Riley and I were talking about that, and it's just Brant Clark is your leading defender in points, and you're just going to diminish his time because Doughty's back. Doughty's a great player, but at the same time, he's older, and you should make him earn his minutes back, not just be like, "Hey, Clark, you're out. Doughty, you're in."
Just the fact that Doughty is also in the question or in the talks of maybe being an outside pick for the Four Nations team too. Dude's just coming off a pretty big injury, and you expect the guy at his age to be able to compete, even in the NHL, at this level. Teams are closing in on a playoff race, and that's the guy that you're gonna lean on. Brant Clark's right there.
Exactly.
He's not Doughty from 2010 ago.
Yeah, this isn't 2014.
He's not that guy anymore. You need to start relying on your Brant Clarks, who've been showing that they can handle the pressure.
Well, and the thing for them is, and I'm sure they kick themselves. I'd love to ask Rob Blake if he regrets it, but do they regret Fiala grabbing Kevin Fiala for Brock Faber? Do you think they regret that?
Oh, probably 100%, dude.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time there.
Big time, yeah.
You see what Brock Faber is doing, and you could have a defense core that's essentially Doughty, Clark, Mikey Anderson, and Brock Faber as your top four. That's disgusting.
Oh, it's insane.
Would be lethal. Absolutely lethal.
Yeah. But they said no of them.
Yeah, it almost fits Toronto's system too. They love picking up middle of the season or even in the off season all these grizzled old blue liners, right? We've seen it in the past a lot. So Drew Doughty would be a huge fit for the Maple Leafs too. He gets to go home, play for his hometown Leafs. So it'd be perfect, I think, if Drew Doughty was in the mix for sure for a Mitch Marner package. But he's also another hometown boy. Maybe he really wants to re-sign, but just the value of what he brings to the table and what the Leafs are going to be offering, I think it's going to be really far in between. And I think we're going to be seeing Mitch Marner probably leaving town. That's just my opinion.
I hope so.
That's only going to kick him in the ass because Matthews is going to go.
Deuces.
That's why I said Matthews for McKinnon, 1-for-1. Both superstars are going to be mad. Their best friends are traded away.
That would be nuts. Wilbs, what do you think? You're out in Ontario. You got that inside Ontario knowledge.
Yeah,
Resident Leafs fan.
I think it definitely is a possibility that I think Marner will get dealt. it would be interesting to see, what the deal's going to be. And I really do think, like, with all this Brant Clark talk and whether he's going to go, I just don't see why you would move a young stud defenseman and Brant Clark. Like, I think he's shown out and in for the LA Games. Like, I think he's done a hell of a job. So I don't know why he would be in the conversations. Like, I've seen all these mock trades. I'm like, I really don't know if that's going to happen. Do I see Marner moving? Absolutely. But, like, some of the mocks, I'm just like, is that really going to happen? Or is it just, just those mocks where it's just all over the place? But I could see Marner getting moved. Like, I feel like the Leafs need to bring change in some way because it just seems like it's the same old Leafs every year. Like, they got to do something. They can't just keep rolling the same thing every year. Like, they have to core four, but what happens when it comes to playoff time? They shut down every time. So I think change is going to happen with the Leafs. It's only a matter of time. It's really only a matter of time of when.
Isn't JT a UFA this year too?
He is, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could shed a lot of cap losing him too in this summer.
I think
I
that
don't think
I think they
hypothetically.
I don't know if they want to, but I almost feel like that might be what JT decides to do. Just leaves.
Speaking
Go
of
back
another
to
former
Gameday.
Leaf here, me and Dakota were laughing about this the other day. There's some mock trades going out there blowing in the wind that Kadri and Colorado could have a reunion, and some of these mock trades were just outlandish. I seen
Won't
Casey
happen.
Middlestat and Callum Ritchie, and they said throwing a couple picks too just for Kadri, and I'm like, you guys are out of your minds for that. There is no way, a prayer in hell, that they would say yes to that. That is just outlandish. What do you guys think about that?
I think Kadri would have to be 100-point player for them to even think about
Consider
it.
that.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm
Kadri's
like, you guys are
Kadri,
high as hell.
Kadri's more of a deaf guy. He's not that big star. Like, he's more of a deaf guy. So to hear those mock trades is just like, what the hell is happening here? Like, it's like you're making a mock trade on rookie mode and you think they're gonna say yes. Like, dude.
Well,
like,
and it's a $7 million depth player.
exactly.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean,
Like, I
same
get
thing with
Casey
Matthews.
Middlestat hasn't had the greatest of seasons this year, but still, like, when you're throwing Colorado's best prospect in there too, and you're demanding picks on top of that, like a second in that, I'm like, GTFO, my guy, like, that is just outlandish. Yes, he's won a cup, big deal. He's played in the best market in the NHL, according to some in Toronto, big deal. He was our third line center throughout that whole 2022 playoffs. Like, stop just blowing out of proportion Kadri's, value. Yes, he's a great player, but he's not worth
He's also
all
too
that.
young.
And like, I don't know. I thought it was just fucked.
What about like Dylan Cousins is all over the rumor mill
Yeah.
to be going somewhere. Like,
Every team should be in that one. Every team.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Buffalo's doing, but for them to list Cousins and Jack Quinn and just like want to move guys, it just seems odd. Like, I don't
It's
know.
Buffalo. It makes complete sense. There's no plan.
Yeah, true. I think it was Greg Wisniewski that said, and I might have mentioned this on the last podcast, but he mentioned Petey it was Pedersen for power, straight up. I was like, I don't know if that benefits either team, honestly.
Buffalo.
Both are taking a risk. Big
I was like,
risk.
that seems crazy.
Vancouver loses that all day.
Yeah.
Petey for Daeden, maybe,
Yeah.
but not
Not
Power.
for Power.
Power and Byram switch between the second and third best D on that team all the time. And even Jokiharju sometimes passes them.
Yeah.
So
That's
I don't
true.
know.
That's true. One defenseman, one player that I thought was going to get moved, but now he can't because he just got injured, was Yanni Gord. I thought for sure somebody was going to go and snake, like a playoff team was just going to go and pick him up because that dude's got heart and soul.
I'm sure Tampa was trying to get him back. I'm sure.
I mean, he's only out 5 to 6 weeks. So, I mean, technically you could trade for him.
But you can't – it's something like you can't trade a guy on IR, and he's going to be on IR past the
they haven't
deadline.
placed him on IR yet, though.
Oh, okay.
So there is that. But as soon as Seattle places him on IR, then they can't move him. I think Seattle has a bunch of cap space, so I think they're okay on not moving him over there. Frank's trade target board that goes out tomorrow has Brock Nelson listed as the #1 trade target. So
That's crazy.
Minnesota's pegged as the team to get him because Bill Guerin selected Nelson for Team USA's Four Nations Faceoff entry. Also, he's from Minnesota. So that'd be an interesting one because you'd have to think Marco Rossi goes back the other way.
That sounds like tampering because Nelson does not deserve to be on that team, but Guerin adds him and then is trying to acquire him. That sounds like tampering.
You might be on something there.
Honestly,
You might be
little
on
suspicious.
something there. That is suspicious. Is there a player that you guys want to see traded? Like you guys want to see like a big, like is there a certain player like Marner or something, or just like a big
Connor
fucking
Sheary.
blockbuster?
Connor Sheary.
Crosby.
Connor Sheary. Get him
He's
out of
going
Tampa.
nowhere.
Sherry for Crosby? Okay, we'll do it.
Deal.
Not that I want to see these two guys get traded, but I think a couple teams could do really well if they looked in Montreal at either David Savard or Jake Evans, a couple of those guys. Jake Evans is a great 3rd, 4th center spot, and David Savard can. He's not really a minute logger, but he plays sound defense in the D zone.
I would love Savard back in Tampa when he won
That
Cups
dude's
with
a
us. I would
Viking.
love it.
The guy's a beast.
I like David Savard. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him. I know a lot of people hate him, but I'm like, I don't understand why you guys hate him. He is a dying breed of defensemen. I love that dude.
That guy loves to cut across the middle of the ice, little toe drag, send a backhander anywhere on net. He doesn't know where it's going. Sometimes it goes in.
Yep.
It's a goal every 2 years. He's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, he's a part of the Columbus team that swept Tampa, and then he went to Tampa and won a cup. So
beat Montreal and then went to Montreal.
Yeah. What a guy.
Great guy.
Dope, dude. Jake Evans is
guy.
definitely a guy, though. That'll get moved for sure. Probably to Tampa.
Really?
That would be a good fit, actually.
Yeah. Tampa can send Alex Barboulay or whatever the French dude is.
He's already in Montreal.
Yeah.
No, never mind. They'll send a different French kid.
He signed there in the offseason.
Montreal needs more French talent.
We have Fortier or Gauthier.
Yeah, send him. Send him. That's good.
I'm not giving up Ethan Gauthier for.
Ethan Gauthier would be nails in Montreal.
Yeah. I give you Gabriel Fortier.
No, I don't.
He's good. He's actually pretty good. He just hasn't cracked Tampa's roster yet. He's played 12 games or something over the last 2 years.
Do you think? Do you guys think Colorado's going to do something more though? You think they have to, or what?
Yes, I think
they definitely have to.
Yeah, I feel like
that's my bet.
They definitely have a move coming. I don't know when, but it just after that, I feel like there's more cooking.
I don't think anything major. I feel like it would just be depth pieces at this point. Couple defenders or something.
Middle staff.
Definitely.
I'm gonna think
calling it.
I think Rantanen's going to be their biggest trade of the season. I don't see anything bigger than that happening in that organization.
That's the biggest of the year, so there's no way they're talking.
Well,
that.
we don't have much of any first round picks like this year, next year, really like depleted, right? Like blue line's the biggest key, I think, right now. Like I said, like we didn't even mention Brandstrom. Like Brandstrom started with Colorado and then he got traded, and now he was actually just part of the JT Miller trade heading towards the Big Apple too. Like when you settle for guys like that on the blue line, I don't know. Like Makar, Taves, and like Malinsky, they can't do it all. Josh Manson, like yes, he's a heavy hitter out there, but like he needs some real depth. Like still pissed about Bowen Byram, whatever. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, there's something that needs to happen. Big void on that first power play unit, guys. Like it's Jonathan Duran out there right now with Mac and Makar and Natchez right now.
Jonathan Duran's out there.
He has 3 points tonight, boss man. 2 goals and assists, buddy. He's cooking. He's cooking. Shut up. He's cooking.
Yeah, but
2 goals and assists, brother.
Who held his hand for him to cook?
Buddy, he was the one.
I guarantee those weren't unassisted goals, my guy.
Yeah, true. Lekkonen's the real Finn over there. That's true. You're right.
Yes.
Fuck Mikko Rantanen.
I think Valerian Nishushkin, $6 million dump. He's got to go somewhere. Just dump the contract. Still love having a Terry Lehkonen back. He's awesome.
He's a playoff beast. Can't get
Oh,
rid
yeah.
of Big Val. Val is what they need in
He
the
is a
playoffs.
beast with
If
the
he
white
can
power.
keep his shit under control, have him. Let's
That's
have
what I
him.
was gonna say. As long as he's not snorting coke every night, he'll be a monster
But
again.
they had that conversation with him, and he went all the way to the Stanley Cup final and couldn't handle
And
it.
then still did it.
How do they think he's going to handle it this year? Any differently?
Yeah, they just need to not drug test him this time. So
He's going to win the cup, go to the locker room, and just pull out the biggest line right in front of the media, and he's going to be like, "See you in 2 years."
I think Colorado just needs a different depth piece than fucking Parker Kelly, a fourth line center. I think they just need to have a solidified fucking, offensive push out there. All 4 lines running.
What about Mikael Granlund, actually? Hold on, just sorry. Even to
From
Colorado.
San Jose.
What about Middlestat being packaged to San Jose for Granlund?
Why do you have to give up Middlestat?
To get rid of him?
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Are you talking about? Wait, okay. Which Granlund was it that pulled off the Michigan in the World Juniors in 2012?
Mikael Granlund. Both of them have done it.
Both of them have attempted it, though.
No, but who pulled it off against?
Mikael Granlund.
Mikael? Okay.
Anything Mikael does, Marcus can do half-assed.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you guys
Mikael can do it flashy, as Marcus is just in.
Nice.
That's what I mean, dude. Calgary gets the shittiest brother of every brother tandem, dude.
You're gonna get Colton Dock soon. No,
he might be a better brother.
He's probably better than Kale.
Personally, I would love that trade, but definitely McFarland's got to pull up his high socks here because that Central Division is so deep. Good luck in the playoffs going up against Dallas, Winnipeg, Minnesota. Good luck getting through those gentlemen. Oh my God, Colorado is in for a real treat, man. There's no way they're gonna beat fucking them in the second round.
Why not? You guys folded Winnipeg last year. Dallas is maybe a threat, but it depends.
Seattle beat it the year before, so
depends on Heiskanen.
Yeah, see that Winnipeg series was something else. So we gentlemen swept them, right? They win game 1. All right, we'll just fucking sweep you 4 straight after that. Dallas was a real problem though. They're flush all 4 lines, dude. There's no way past them. Same with this year; they'll be really good again.
I mean, they're hurting on the D line.
Yeah,
Colton's got something on Dallas.
They got Labushkin though. They got Labushkin in the offseason, so that was a nice ad.
Good. They lost Hockenpah when they could have used him. What are they doing?
Hockenpah's good. What do you got?
They gave up Hockenpah because they thought he was going to be done, and then he goes and comes back miraculously. I had a text from somebody about Stankoven. Gotta find it. Hold up.
Being traded?
Yeah. So
Tuesday.
Tuesday, got a note from somebody saying, "Hey, your boy might be on the move from us." And I went, "Oh." So I checked in with somebody else that knows the Dallas Stars. Told them what I heard, and I got this exact text back. No chance. I was told, and get ready for this. There's a better chance of the Edmonton Oilers trading Connor fucking McDavid. They're not.
That's a statement.
No way in hell. That's from somebody directly in hockey ops in Dallas. So they're not. There's no fucking way they're giving up Stanky. Not for anything. You could offer them Mitch Marner and they'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Not happening.
So that's good to know. Our boy is safe. Our boy is safe.
Stupid.
No,
nice.
They're not.
He gets traded tomorrow.
I'd be like, you fucking lied. I could have broke the trade.
No, man. Calgary needs to hop all over that, dude. Again, let's trade 2.0.
Yeah. I think that Dallas is upset about their trades with Calgary enough in the past that they're not going to do that.
It was only one. Hey, they won a cup without Iggy, bud.
That's true.
With Nieuwendyk.
If only Calgary could put the puck in the net in 2004, they probably would have won.
Yeah, what?
Right,
Yeah, you want to talk about
right. Let's watch the replay, Riley.
Video replay.
that?
There was no video replay. What video replay?
True.
Should Dallas have really won in '99?
This is
Brett Hall was in the
like,
paint.
This is on topic, but off topic kind of is like we have to think back to everything in history before there was no video call. Like how many goals didn't count that would have changed things? How many off the back bar and out that weren't called goals, right? Like
Imagine
you
Gretzky's
really-
goal total.
yeah, goes up. You know what I mean? Without the video replay, like we have no idea how many things would have been different.
I think that's fair. I think
So-
that's fair.
That's why I think
On
it's
the
sometimes
top-
like overly used.
On the topic of Pittsburgh for a sec.
Pittsburgh.
I like how after the Colorado trade, Kevin Weeks put out that skyline of Pittsburgh, and then Biz started
yeah.
tweeting about shit, and everything was going haywire, and everybody thought it was Crosby. Okay, yeah. Here to inform you, it was not said the kid. But if Colorado goes and makes that trade, like I said in our chat, for Erik Karlsson, Chris McFarland might actually like have pitchforks out for him, because what the fuck would that be?
Yeah.
You were complaining you couldn't re-sign Rant, and you're going to take on Erik Karlsson's $12 million contract? Who the fuck are you, dude? Like, make up your mind.
Pittsburgh would have to eat some of it somehow, but like
Yeah.
our team would have to be involved. But like Colorado wants a defenseman. That's who they're linked to. But like if you're Colorado and you want a defenseman, you know who I go get that provides grit and provides a little bit of offensive? Ryan Lindgren. Go fucking get him.
Yeah. You know what? Sticking with Pittsburgh and Colorado. Hold up. Did they ever throw Rantanen for Crosby at the Pens?
I doubt it.
Like I would have. There, Crosby's debatable. You're looking at Rantanen. You go, look, are you guys willing to center something around this package? And then say, you can just flip him for probably more than what you're going to get for Sidney Crosby if you guys are really committed to this downturn.
Kyle Dubas got fucking fleeced for Jake Gensel, though.
Yeah.
Fleeced.
So did Carolina.
They didn't even get a top 10 prospect from Carolina, for Christ's sakes.
No, but Carolina didn't get
Granted.
Gensel.
But granted, Ville Koivunen and Vasily Ponomarev both had 4 goals last night. Both of them.
Oh,
So,
fair.
in the AHL, of course. But yeah,
Yeah.
both had 4 goal nights.
But now Gensel's in Tampa, so really, did Carolina get much?
No,
Like
not really.
they got 3 months of Jake Gensel and then he left, and that's
When
what
they get-
that's what it's looking like for Rantanen too. 3 months of Rantanen and gone.
They got bounced in the second round, right? Carolina?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Well,
Because they
by
can't
the
rank
only
it
ni-
in the second round.
By the
The only
Rangers,
night-
it was Rangers
The only
fans.
nice thing in Rantanen's case is that he's buddies with Aho already.
Yeah.
Dude, I said that in our fucking group, like our daily face-off group chat. When my first reaction when the trade happened in the group chat was, "What the fuck?" Except I spelled everything wrong, and everybody was laughing, but everybody was mind blown. Everyone's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Like, and then I said, "Holy shit, Carolina's team, Finland," and then Frank was like, "You need to calm down." I was like, "Okay, I will."
Sorry, Frank.
I was excited. Can't just drop huge Friday trades on me at 8 p.m. Get excited.
Yeah, that was so late.
But anyways, going back to like me thinking Demko's available now, would you go back to the Buffalo Vancouver trade where you gave up
Evan
Pedersen and Demko, and then you get Cousins, Byram, in one of either Ukko-Pekka or Levi back?
I want Levi all day in that.
I would want Levi too, but I feel like either one would be half decent in Vancouver. But Pedersen
it's
and Demko for Cousins, Byram, and one of Ukko-Pekka or Levi.
If you're giving them Demko, who's like on his game, a top 7 or 8 goalie in the league, I think you have to get Levi. You can't settle for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I think Demko is going to be a backup eventually in his career, only because of his injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think
Good way to
he's
look
going to
at
be.
it.
I don't think he's going to be back to 100% Demko ever.
I think that's fair, though. Because Though some of those injuries are hard to bounce back from. Look at Ben Bishop. It did great in Dallas. He had a few good years in Tampa too. But I mean, ultimately, it was his injuries that forced him out.
His injury
Carey
was in
Price.
Tampa, though. That 2015 final. That's where the injury started. The 2015 final.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I don't know. Like if you, I guess you would have to weigh it out. Like, can you re-sign? Like, I don't know. It's hard because you're giving up a lot there if you're Vancouver, getting rid
Well,
of
you're
Demko.
taking a major risk for sure. But I think if you had a
So
tandem of like Lankinen and Devin Levi, that'd be insane.
I think, yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Because, yeah, so it's, you get Cousins. Who do you get back? Cousins and who?
Cousins, Byram, and we'll say Levi for Demko and Pedersen.
Yeah,
Now
I'd
whether
do
you add a couple picks to that trade from Vancouver's end, but I mean you're setting
yeah,
yourself
I'd
up.
do it.
You're setting yourself up in the future goalie wise, and you're not risking the potential of Demko being an overpaid backup.
100%. No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. But yeah, I think that wraps up all the fucking trades that we've got broken down for now. I mean, there's going to be more, obviously coming, and whatever information I get, I will feed it over, and we can, we can do this again. But overall, for me, I think, give the Rantanen trade an A, give the other trade a B, and fuck, the Canucks trade's an F for the Canucks, but pretty much an A plus for the Rangers. So
You know what? I'm not
Short
even going to
story
grade.
shorts.
I'm not even going to grade Rantanen's trade until the off season, until you figure
yeah,
out
it's hard.
where.
Yeah,
If you can re-sign him, yeah, fair.
Otherwise, to me, Colorado would get the A as of right
Yeah.
now. But if Rantanen
Yeah, for
resigns,
Natchez.
Carolina 100% gets the A, and I'd give Colorado a B.
Or
B
if what
plus.
Colton said they do and they flip them, that would be even better in Carolina's position.
Would be crazy. We've seen crazier things happen. Remember, Wayne Gretzky got traded.
Yep.
Yeah, but for Carolina though, would you get a better like? You'd almost have to guarantee a re-sign to get a really good return back.
Yeah,
If
they
Rant,
would. They'd have to trade him to like I said, Chicago or like San Jose or somebody that they knew was going to sign him on the dot and extend him like that, like right then and there. So.
Either way, though, gents, I think we'll wrap up our trade special here. And thanks to everyone for watching this episode. We really appreciate it. Follow us at Gameday Tarps. Follow Daeden at Blue Nose Hockey. Follow Wilbs at Wilbs Puck. Follow Colton at Colton R. Davies or at Daily Faceoff because he helps run that social media account. So again, we appreciate everyone for watching this episode. Episode 50, sneak peek, big guest from Daily Faceoff. We're not going to trick anyone. It's not Frank Saravalli, but still a huge guest from DFO and or Daily Faceoff, and we just are looking forward to it. So we'll see everyone in episode 50 of the Gameday Tarps podcast.